we do this every freaking time something happened on this field. Everybody want to pivot and act like I done heard people talking about, just the mental health of the players. And yeah, you could die. They don't even know they could die out here. We sit here and talk about this stuff every single time. Schedule remakes, how we going to make it up, what the league feels about it. I don't give a damn what the league feels about it. Let's keep it real. Why we don't talk about the stuff that matters? This young man, you want to know how what this you need to know about him? He's 24 years old, right? He got a contract for $160,000. That's his bonus. And he earns $825,000 this year. You say, G. Bush, why are you talking about this man's money? Because guess what? He's been in the league 2 years. That means he's not vested. That means if he never plays another down in his life, he don't get another check for the NFL. Let's be clear about this. You got to play 3 to 4 years before you even sniff a pension. So all this heartwarming and prayers and condolences don't do nothing for that boy's mom that got to go home, look at her son, and he might need extensive care for the rest of his life. And you know what the NFL will tell you? Well, we'll look out for the people like him. No, you won't. No, you won't. Let's talk about the disability policy for the NFL, right? They moved it from $22,000 a month to $4,000 in the last collective bargaining agreement. Did you know that the NFL has a private board that reviews all aspects with their doctors and with their neurologists and their specialists? They can deny benefits even if Social Security deems you to be permanently disabled. The league can come back and then say, the government is they're experts, but let's take it over so we don't pay anything out. Only 15% get approved by Social Security. The league says that number should be lower. Get that, 15% of the people who apply for disability in this country, I know, I was a disability expert. It's very low. I submitted over almost 250,000 applications in 1 year one time. I know. Since the CTE settlement, only 6.5% of the settlement has been paid, according to the admin's website. I looked it up yesterday. And 60% of the claims have a qualifying diagnosis but have not been paid. Let's talk about this. They're also moving the pension. And that pension, he got to make it to 55. He's 24. And they've moved that between $3,000. They moved it down to $3,000 when it was $5,600 a month. And the last stat that you should know about is the Bills owner Terry Pegula owns the Sabres as well as the Buffalo Bills, and his net worth is $6.7 billion. My question to you is, NFL, when do salaries become guaranteed? If you know these young men are going out there and they could die on that football field, I don't give a damn what your thoughts and prayers are. Do the right thing. I just heard Aditi say it 7 times. This is a savage sport. Men are dying every week. And you covered that up during CTE, and now you want to act like you the top of the food chain because you got the CPR people on the field on time? That's the least you should do. You're not gonna pay that man's you're not gonna pay that man's tuition for his kids. You're not gonna give him no disability money. You don't do nothing. All you do is collect them big checks, and we go play fantasy footballs, and I hear these dudes' thoughts and prayers for a whole damn 2 hours. Y'all don't care about them kids. These young black kids is putting on the line. And you telling them what they put on the line ain't worth it because you know why? Because you don't want to pay for somebody that's broken and battered and can't take care of themselves because it costs you money.
YFM is back again. Big homie Wayne, he got a little bit of agreements, man. And I kind of respect his opinion. So, it's kind of like us both. But we played the video. Y'all saw that video, a little clip of that video before we got started. You can hear it on the audio. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. But we're still talking about that DeMar, what's the boy's last name? Hamlin situation where he, is right now in critical condition in the hospital after playing a football game, passing out on the field. There's some more information that's getting shared and people are sharing their opinions. And one of my favorite pundits on Cleveland football and basketball and just Cleveland sports in general, G. Bush shared his opinion that we shared with y'all. So Wayne, I'm gonna just go ahead and give it to you because you're the one that shared this with me from Twitter. So how do you feel about this, bro?
So, man, and I want to preface this saying that because I don't want anybody to, get the wrong idea of what I'm trying to say, or that I don't care about this dude, and that I don't want best for his family, because I do. I want best for him as well, So I just don't want to get this misconstrued, man. If the NFL wants to pay this dude $10 million, for him and his family, for him to never play it again, for everything that happened, just to take care of him and his family, I'm cool with that. Don't have a problem with that. My issue here is that this is something that we were speaking about before, Fearless, and someone else that we're speaking with in the podcast world. His name is Kyle. But it's something called personal responsibility. And so you said G. Bush, what he was saying, I understand what he was saying. But it got to me a little bit because there was still no personal responsibility involved. My thing is, football is the roughest, toughest sport that there is. You know what I mean? So you have to know going in, when you're playing your whole life, you're playing Pop Warner, you're playing high school, college, and you get to the big times, man, you have to understand, man, them hits are going to come. And it's tough, and you're going to get hurt. You're going to break a leg. You're going to hurt your eardrum go bust, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But you have to be prepared for that. I'm sure you know that you're supposed to have insurance. So I'm pretty sure playing football that you have insurance as well. My thing is, though, you have someone like G. Bush complaining, saying that the NFL should do more. I'm not against them doing more, but what about the actual player? Like, what are they doing to set their life up? You know what I mean? And I understand what he was saying, that he may not be vested in just yet. But from what also he was saying, they only get pennies on the dollar anyway once they are vested, But my thing is, when do we, I don't want to say blame, but for lack of a better word, blame the player for playing the sport. That's one thing that we're not talking about. When people get signed on, they get their big contract, they're all happy, the family's all happy, we're all happy for them and everything. That's wonderful. But no one's thinking about when this person gets hurt. When these situations like this happen, you're supposed to have something in place. And this makes me go back to that broke episode on 30 for 30, where it's like, we're watching this and we're like, look at these crazy niggas blowing all their money. You got Andre Rison talking about he had $80,000 just lying around in his pocket, and they pretty much just throwing money away, losing money that they absolutely could have had now if they played their cards right. And I was talking to Fearless too. This is one of those things that happen in wrestling as well. I'm a pro wrestling fan. Is that they want the companies, the NFLs and the WWEs or whatever, to pay these athletes after they get done, or if they get hurt and can't wrestle anymore. And my thing is, I don't feel like it's their responsibility. If they want to do it out of the kindness of their heart, cool. But it shouldn't be made shame, like G. Bush was talking about, bad business practices or whatever the case is. You shouldn't have to come down on them like that, because if they want to do it, then that's fine. But if they don't, but also, what about the player? Like, how much money do they have saved up for the future? You know what I mean? I know this is a different situation with this guy because he passed away, and I really feel like it's he's probably not gonna make it, because it's really a really bad injury for what I'm hearing and for what Fearless has told me as well. But I just feel like, for that tirade that the guy put on, I don't think it was really necessary. It's just like you're trying to go to bat for the guy and you're coming down on the NFL, and it's not really their fault. And I always go back to say, what would you do in that situation? If you were Roger Goodell, like, how would you handle the situation? You think that you would, cancel the show or stop the game and then try to reschedule it later, but you don't know what you would do for sure. You know what you do when you're back against a wall. When people are pressuring you, you'd probably do it. But if it was just made up to you, you don't know what you do, And this kind of brings into effect like Owen Hart, the Owen Hart situation. He's a wrestler who died years ago. He fell at, hit his head on a turnbuckle from, he was flying in the sky and fell down and he passed away. And Vince McMahon had the show go on. He finished out the pay-per-view and everybody is just so mad and upset about him about that. But that's my issue. Is like, when do we have personal responsibility, man? And Fearless, what do you think, man? How do you feel? Because I know it may seem a little insensitive, but I don't know. Just for the attitudes and people getting so angry about it, I just feel like we're not talking about the game, the player at hand,
So this is what I would say. first of all, I understand his frustration. Certainly, G. Bush being a heck of a football fan, loving football. But there's also a lot of personal responsibility when it comes to, your own personal health. And I just look at it from the simple point that, for one, the collective bargaining agreement, that's something that you need to fight for. And that's something that us as workers are all fighting for right now. We're fighting for better wages, more equality, more freedom, more work from home opportunities. So the whole world is fighting for that. So the collective bargaining agreement has to be fought for. And you cannot blame a business for being a business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to the players to bargain for those things. And this is a good point that, like, look, you can die out there. So you need to get more money for your pension. You need to be able to get vested earlier. You need to make sure that there's a medical program that covers so much more of any possible injuries. If you have an injury that's basically going to take your life, you need to had that covered 24/7. There's no reason why you should have to go ahead and go out there and risk your life and then risk, being permanently disabled and not having no help from the company that you worked for. Because most companies, when they have you working dangerous type of jobs like that, they have that. But all of those things I'm talking about, they have to be collective bargain for. But people that play in the NFL, 80% of them come from broken homes, lesser opportunities. We all know this. So they don't understand that. They're not looking at it. They're not futurists. So blaming the NFL, to me, is you just passing the buck to somebody else. This is on the players.
Right.
The players have to negotiate better. They need to ask for more things. I think this situation is so public that they're going to just make sure that this guy's taken care of for the rest of his life if he does make it.
Absolutely.
But if this shit wasn't public like that, right, then what would happen?
Nothing. That's where personal responsibility comes in.
Exactly. So it's a scary situation. I think it was good to shed the light on that. And I think he was really mad at all the outpouring that he's seeing on Twitter for people that you don't think that nobody really gives a fuck about, honestly. Like nobody, like you said previously before we started recording, nobody knew who this dude was. Like his charity got $250,000, to support the children. That's awesome. Now it's up to like $6 million. Like, man, that's great. But it shouldn't take a situation where somebody had to die for us to actually care about shit.
Exactly.
And that's exactly where we are. That's human nature, though. Like, we don't give a fuck until it's something that we can get credit for posting about, or for us to be like, hey, this is a cause that we all need to get behind, but it has to always be something that's really messed up that happens. And we kind of talked about that on our Shannon Should Quit, Undisputed episode that we dropped today, available on YouTube and on our podcast. You already know.
On my mouth. You got it.
Right? So we talked about that there. And I feel like that's what G. Bush was also talking about, is like the fakeness that he's seeing. This fake outrage. But it's like, motherfucker, once he wakes up, if he wakes up, y'all ain't gonna give a fuck. You're gonna move on to the next story.
Exactly.
And it's so much shit that this guy has to worry about. And the NFL should be held accountable for them trying to skate on certain things that they should pay, like CTE. That, to me, I feel like it's something that they should pay for. And the only reason why is because they lied to the players about concussions. If they would have kept it a buck and then it's your choice, I'm pretty sure every other football player would have went out there and still played. But Wayne, that since that shit became, public, it's been a lot of NFL players that's quit after like 4 or 5 years. They got vested and they just left. Yes, it's been a ton of them that's quit. Like, I already had 1 or 2 concussions. I'm leaving the sport.
Yeah.
So they didn't know though until now. So
good for them for reaching that. Good for them for realizing that. And go back to what you said earlier. I feel like this is one of those things that should open up everybody's eyes, especially the players. Like, you see something like this happen, you be like, damn, man. Yo, let me put away. I just got 20 million. Let me put 15 away.
Let me just ball off of this.
Oh, wait. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is huge, man. This dude just passed away off again. I'm looking at the hit and I'm like, damn, man, it didn't look that bad, but shit. Obviously it was,
And let's do a quick calculation, Wayne. So let's say that because he did some calculations, let's do one as well. So let's say that you are an NFL player and let's use Shannon Sharpe as an example. You retire at the age of 35. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that the average black African American lives to the age of 75. Okay? So that's 45 years, right? So what's 45 years times, let's say, the average money that an athlete could live off of after he retires, $80,000. Okay? That's $3,600,000 for the next 45 years. So if you spend, now that's modest. That's not accounting for your health insurance, because the NFL doesn't really cover that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not covering for any, like, you know, unexplained phenomenons. And then that's also accounting for the bull Hamlin. He only makes his base salary is $800,000. He's a 6th-round draft pick. So he probably would have got a bigger contract this end of this year, to be honest with you, or next year, because he played so much. But let's just say that, like, he only made $1 million. He ain't nowhere near that.
Yeah.
Now let's account for medical expenses. Let's say now he needs $150,000 a year because of medical expenses, depending on what happened to the bull. So if you take $150,000 times 45, that's double.
Yep.
Basically. So that's $7 million. That's not accounting for inflation, taxes, or none of that shit. Because you still going to have to pay taxes on that money eventually. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A state, that's not counting a whole bunch of other shit. House repairs, just normal life stuff. You know what I mean? That's no entertainment. And then that also decreases the amount of kids you have. So let's say he has a normal family, 3 kids. It's a lot. But my point is that as people, certainly people in the NFL, we have to do 2 things, in my opinion. 1, collective bargain for more rights, for more help. And for 2, do what G. Bush did and shed the light on stuff like CTE and how they're not trying to allow people to get their money. But also, we have to have that personal responsibility that when you get paid, you got to invest it and save it as best you can. And don't blow it. Because most NFL players go broke within 4 years after they're retiring.
And here's my thing. Let me go back to what you're saying. You're saying, with your calculations, well, modestly, you would live $80,000 a year.
That's modest as fuck.
That's
for
modest,
an NFL player.
But like I said, we do that all the time. Us non-NFL players,
Yeah.
we do that shit all the time. That's without $3.6 million or $6 million in savings. We do that shit $80,000 a year, and that could be between 2 people. You know, so we do that shit, bro. So it's not impossible. But if you want to live high on the hog, then that's your ass, bro. And I can't feel sorry for that, man. Like, I'm sorry that you got put in that situation where, you know, you lost your money, you spent your money, or whatever the case is, you know. But really, like, this is it, in this example where you said 80,000, that should be more than enough, man. You don't need, like, a big ass 19-room mansion unless you have like 40 million, 50 million, unless you're out there making Tom Brady numbers. You know what I mean? So yeah, you need to go ahead and get you a nice little 4-bedroom house, man. Get you 2 Toyotas and call it a day, man. And just be lucky that you're walking every day. There's always an excuse behind, like, you know, oh, you don't know the pain that I go through, or oh, you know, the family that I have, bro. It's always millionaires talk about, you know, I need this endorsement or this or that to feed my family and shit. I'm like, that means you're wasting all your money, kid. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like, you know, you're just kind of wasting everything, bro. And then there's a are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
And then there's just the so I can't really feel like so sorry for that, man, because we're doing it just fine, bro. Not just fine, but you know, we're doing it. We were playing it a little bit, but we got it covered, you know. So yeah, man, there's just so many other things to consider outside of him just making like the $800,000 base salary, or, you know, how he's gonna feed his kids and shit like that. Like, I don't know. Want to do something, and if the NFL wants to do something, cool, man. But they shouldn't be held like a gun to their head saying, "What you gonna do for this guy?" because of the court of public opinion. That's not right.
Yeah, man. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and I feel like this is going to change the NFL forever. This event, because there's nothing else going on really in the world. I mean, we have a whole war going on. Niggas don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That crazy ass psycho killer just got off, or just got locked up, and nobody gives a shit. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's a lot of other shit that's going on, pimp. And yeah. You don't really see a lot going on about that.
Right.
So that's
right.
that.
And let me jump in real quick. Another thing that kind of pissed me off about this whole situation, and again, I understand how some people may, hear this and think that I'm being insensitive, and I'm really trying not to be. I want this guy to be healthy all over again. I don't want anything bad to happen to him or his family.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is about it is another thing that pissed me off is the whole situation with Skip Bayless, and how nobody understands what Skip is saying. So I'm taking that situation about what Skip is saying and kind of adding it onto this. And I'm just making it to where it's like, everybody's opinion is, excuse me, is of this, it's, what are you going to do next, NFL? What are you going to do, Bills? Like what? And then you get mad at someone like Skip for saying something that you just didn't quite understand, because the only words that you recognize is prayer. And he didn't say, I'm praying for his kids, I'm praying for him. He just was like, yo, none of this football stuff seems irrelevant. Or it seems irrelevant right now. And y'all took it the wrong way because he didn't use the same verbiage that y'all do. And I'm just putting all this together, and I'm really hating this whole situation for this guy. You know what I mean? Because it is about him and if he's gonna live or not. But then everybody else is just making this about them and all their little shitty ass emotions and everything. And I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I just kind of, when I heard that, I was just like, yo, I'm really kind of tired of it.
Yeah, I understand, man. I think that this situation is bringing up a lot of shit. It's really sad that, he's in a hospital bed and can't even, kind of talk about it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's real fucked up. But I will definitely say that we just have to ensure that we're being sensitive enough to understand that it's a big chance that this dude won't survive.
Yeah.
And we need to all just stop kind of being mad at each other and just saying this is a fucked up situation and none of us really know how to handle it. And if we can have a little bit of humility, maybe we can seem to be like better people instead of being, jerks and just trying to make sure that we're correct. Because there's a lot of motherfuckers that are affected by this, but his family is the biggest one. They're the ones that's going to deal with this shit forever. Like once we forget about this dude and NFL resumes this Sunday, it's going to change. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Like straight up, like he's going to disappear from the news. And it's fucked up, but it's the truth. So basically, sum it up, collective bargaining, got to have it, personal responsibility, got to save your money. And also, if the NFL want to help him, that's their choice. But they are a company. And companies at the end of the day really doesn't have too much responsibility. And if you don't like that shit, stop watching the football and say, fuck them. The Rock got a new football league that's coming out. And the XFL starting February. Watch that shit.
Right.
Straight up. Like, you watch that shit, you be straight. You get all the bullshit you want. So that's just what it is, man. Unfortunately, we can't control what these people do with their money and what they do with their pockets. So if you're an NFL player, man, and you happen to listen to this, get your fucking money, save it as much as you can, and understand that they're not going to give you anything. So don't even, really try to get it, because they're not going to give you a goddamn dollar.
At all.
And that's as real as a motherfucking.
And you shouldn't expect it either.
Nope.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't. Motherfuckers are gonna fight you tooth and nail. That's the real world. Niggas ain't trying to give you shit, like straight up. So the less you expect, the better you probably off. You probably are off, which is fucked up, but it's the truth. Like, you got to prepare for that shit. And we as a society are not personally responsible for fucking dick.
Right.
And it's insane, bro. It's insane. We are just not. So the better we are at that, the more responsibility we take, the more we'll be prepared for everything.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, fucked up situation still, man. Real fucked up situation. But, yeah, man. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for checking us out, hearing, our opinions on everything. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And also, please let us know what you think, man. Let us know what you think about this situation, about what G. Bush said. I love G. Bush. I just feel like what he was saying, though, kind of is like putting the blame on somebody else. Wayne, you got any lasting or ending thoughts, man?
The only thoughts I have is, everybody who's listening to this and is a fan of the YFM podcast, please understand that I'm not as disgusting of a person I probably just made myself out to be.
He's a piece of garbage.
I'm really not that bad, I promise, yo. But no, it's just, yeah, man. I just wanted to vent, about the situation, and I wanted to know if anybody else had the same feeling that I feel. I hope everything turns out great for Damar. I hope they, I want him to get everything that he deserved and his family deserves for the situation that they're in. I really, really do. It really wasn't nothing about him. It was more so about, what are we all doing? What are the players doing to make sure that they are good for the future,
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's very, very, very important. So, all right, man, YFM, thank y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe. Let's go ahead and say peace to the people, bro.
All right, peace, y'all. Peace and love.
All right, we out.